Now that's a particular kind of American, obviously, the kind of Americans you see in Europe, who often, for some reason, seem to be very generously proportioned. And you see them in museums, blocking up the exhibits, going, what is this? Can we eat it? Where are we? Can we pee? And yet, when you go to America, you see that it's a very, very, because it's so competitive and everything, people are ultra-fashionable and very thin, really. I think the Americans you see in Europe are all the ones who stay in their apartments, get food piped in, and then they're just shipped out to Europe. But the ones over there, you see these amazing-looking people. They don't look real at all, these incredibly exiguous women. You know those people who look like they can't support the weight of their own teeth in their head? Stalking in and out of fashionable restaurants. I don't know what they do in there. Maybe they just rub pesto on their legs or something. And you know, they look like they weigh as much as a photograph of themselves. And very fashion conscious. But people have this idea that it's still the promised land. You know, somewhere like California, which everything is fruitful and abundant. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is the governor of California. There's a perfectly ordinary English sentence. How did that happen? Do you know how that happened? Because I'll tell you. You know how he got into that position? He got there by lifting things. Now you and me, we avoid lifting things. It's unpleasant. Especially heavy things. Even a 5-year-old child knows this. They go, huh? No, fuck it, no. I'm going to put Lego up my arse. I'm not doing that, no. He took a different approach. He lifted the heavy, and you know, you lift something when you have to. Piano falls on Granny. You lift the piano. Because Granny has mixed feelings about the whole situation. Sunday lunch continues. He didn't do any of that. He went right over to the heavy thing and lifted it and put it back down and didn't move it anywhere. And then he lifted it again, hundreds of times, and said to the people who had stopped to observe this aberrant behavior, look how good I am at lifting the heavy thing in my underpants. Now that sounds a little dim. But it was they who said, you're the man. You're the one we want to deal with immigration and water rates and taxes and all that kind of shit. Now, wait. What we need to know is, how bad was his predecessor at that job? You know, this must have been somebody who came to work covered in children's blood every morning. He drives one of these vehicles, you know these things, they're called Hummers, you know? It's like a big 4-wheel drive thing. Huge. How small does your cock have to be to make you walk into a car showroom and say, listen, I need something the size of a school so people know I'm around? As if driving wasn't already aggressive enough. You see people behind the wheels of these things. They change, you know, in those big built-up vehicles. You have them here in London, you know, because it's difficult. Obviously, the coffee is on one side of the street and you have to get your newspaper from the other. It's tough, I know. And people change to get behind the wheel of those things. They lose the ability to distinguish between an empty packet of crisps and your children. And driving is incredibly aggressive. I started to learn recently. I don't know how to drive, and it's fairly pathetic, you know, because I'm 30, nearly 35. It's ridiculous. And then I started getting nervous because I can't swim either, and I thought, you know, what if I crash into a lake? I am fucked. But then you learn very, very quickly that it is mostly about swearing, actually. That's all you're doing, swearing in a box with wheels. Because you don't swear like that with any other activity in your day. You don't allow yourself. It's okay when you're driving for some reason. If somebody blocks you when you're walking, you positively Edwardian in your manners. You do this sheepish little smile together, and you step aside, and you both do it at the same time, and you go, oh, for goodness sake, what to do? Oh, dear me. I'll just, oh, we did it again. Do you believe it? I can't believe it. We should be on the stage. One more time, I'll just, how did we ever get this far as a species? But for some reason, in a car, that becomes, you spoke bucket! From, you know, an 89-year-old church warden. Excuse me, I have something that'll clear up. It might take me with it, but, you know, we'll see. But this idea of the good life being elsewhere does possess people. And I suppose a lot of people now, because Europe is freed up and everything, people move within Germany. A lot of, within Europe, rather. I mean, I said Germany, but I meant Europe. I don't know why I said Germany, but loads of people did go to Germany, actually, recently, for the World Cup. A lot of English people went over to make uninformed, prejudicial remarks about German people and Germany. Totally ignorant and bigoted. Know nothing about it, but they feel free to insult it. Because they're English and they're bigoted. And because Germany is a toilet. A truly dreadful place. Nobody ever has any reason to go there. It is a totally dreadful place. And that's just the way it is. Because if you're talking to, you know, a modern... I went there. On the same weekend I went to Australia and California. And it's a... You see, the thing is, you're talking to a modern, nice, affable German person, and they're saying to you something like, you know, well, it's a critical time now for Germany within Europe, also globally. Economically, we're pretty good, we have been better, but we're very vibrant in the theatre and arts and so on. All the time you listen to this, you're thinking, Hitler. There's a Hitler when you did the Hitler thing with Hitler. And Hitler came out, Hitler. And the people look like pork. You can't get away from that. They do. They look like pork scratchings on a towel. And you can't eat the food because you would have to complain about it, and that would mean speaking German. It's a disgusting language. Nobody should ever speak it. Even Hitler was vegetarian. That's how bad the food is. And you couldn't speak German because it's a horrible sound. It sounds like typewriters eating tinfoil being kicked down the stairs. And somebody is talking to you in German, they're saying, and you think, what is happening to you from behind? How can we make it stop? Please go away. Now that's not prejudice, that's just observation. And the thing is, English people are very bigoted, though, I find. I say that as a neutral Irish person. You know, Ireland wasn't involved in the war at all. Ireland's reaction in the war was to go, what? There's a what on? Sorry, what? I'm not dressed. What is it? What? You want a what? You need to, what? What is it? A war? Oh, it's all over. Is it? Oh, we'll go. Yeah, what do you want? And not very useful. And because children express themselves. That's how they look young and vibrant and alive, and why we all envy them. The child, you know, the children can be incredibly difficult to understand when you're grown up. You forget that you were a child. Something simple like a child going to bed. You know, you say bedtime, bedtime, bedtime. That's not what the child hears. What the child hears is lie down in the dark. For hours. And don't move. I'm locking the door now. So the child has trouble with that, so of course you make a concession, you read a fairy tale or something, you know, all the wisdom of the world compacted into a little story, and you say there was a little girl lost many, many miles from home, walking through the woods, late at night with the creatures all hooting and howling in the bushes around her, stepping over the roots of trees, and she came to the old sty and began to climb it, but it broke, you see. It broke and she fell down. But then when she got herself up, she was all right, and you could see the lights at home. And she began to walk towards home, and then a thing ate her. Good night. Night. You probably sent the child to bed because you were just tired talking to the child, because the child asks you questions. You see, and this is one of the great things about having a child. You look forward to teaching this child about the world and how it works. But the children are, they're like children, but they're bigger and they're webbed. They're not really interested in your views on the world. You know, they have their own questions. What is the name of the spaces in between the bits that stick out on a comb? I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, what do you call the place underneath the kettle? I don't know! Bedtime. it's difficult. Children sleep in your bed. This is part of having children. It's very important for a child's development to sleep in the grown-up's bed because their bones are growing in particular directions. You see, what happens is children are actually very sophisticated. They sleep in your bed for a reason. The child is born, it takes a look around, it thinks, well, this isn't quite what I'd hoped for. These people are idiots. I wouldn't have painted the house like this at all. But I've got to make the best of it. So how do I've got to maximize my resources. So the key thing is to stop these people having any more children. So children get urine samples sent through the post and sprinkle it on their beds. They're busy people, they don't have time to pee the beds themselves. And then they crawl into your bed. And because their bones are growing and everything, they can only sleep in certain positions, obviously. The crucifix and the swastika tend to be the most popular. Sometimes a combination of the two. But the thing that really relaxes a child is to have the big toenails lodged squarely in your respective genitalia. That ensures a blissful night's slumber. Then the sexual kidnapping is complete. No touchy-touchy, no kissy-kissy. You two need lots of sleep. I have many questions for tomorrow. Very important. But you lose so much of that natural, human panache that children have. No, you tell the child to go to bed, and it puts that against what it wants to do, and synthesizes, and says, I hate you. I really hate you. As they're scratching their arse with a toy elephant. Now, if you could retain that sense of self in your adult life, you'd have a totally different experience. At work, telling your boss, I hate you. I scratch you. I really do. Every day is the same fucking shit. I don't know why I keep coming back.